overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins are all lost. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah, we overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins are all lost. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah.
Podcast. It's all about having a transformational growth mindset, being resilient. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I'm your host, Michael Allison. Let's welcome to the show today a man that is a business, funding, and asset protection coach. He has over half a decade of experience in the financial industry, and he specializes in helping small business owners secure funding and protecting their assets. On social media, you can follow my guy at Sire Montgomery. Let's welcome to the show my good brother, Mr. Sire Montgomery.
And I appreciate you guys. It's an honor to be here right now.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for coming here, man. We've met several months ago, and I just really appreciated like your intellect, your knowledge about business funding, finances, and I really wanted to tell you to that now, man, because at such a young age, you don't see too much of that, bro. So I just wanted to give you your kudos, man, and salute you for coming on to the show. Let's get started, man. Tell me about yourself, bro. Like, how did you get into the business funding space and being a asset protection coach?
Definitely, I was taught by a couple of different coaches, Coach DeMont, Genre, Mike Clark, so on and so forth, Tony Robbins, etc. Him 500, just of these different people impart knowledge into me, which helped me, as well as my older brother, teaching me the credit game about where you need to be and how you need to be in order to get funded by banks, in order to create longevity for yourself forever and ever. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does, man. Absolutely, man. I know how important it is, bro, for us to have all of our funding protected. And it sounds like you had a wealth of knowledge that was around you that was pouring into you, man. I think that's one of the key things for me as I was getting into the business space was having like lots of coaches and lots of mentor, bro. So absolutely, I recognize that too. If you would, man, tell me about like where you grew up, where you from, man, your childhood, your parents, and all that.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. My dad is from Atlanta. My mom is from New York, and I was raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. Right, currently in L.A. Because after college I wanted to move to L.A. So I didn't want to be like, what if. So I got the best of both worlds by my dad being from Atlanta and my mom being from New York. So we've came up as a nice entrepreneurship kind of household. My mom always had some type of art that she was doing, or art that she was selling, or pottery that she was molding for other people. Although she is a college graduate with a psychology degree, she instilled that entrepreneurial spirit in us from the start. So, grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, Southern boy, you know. So I have all the manners and the intellect to match, can acclimate myself in a myriad of surroundings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, man. It does. Tell me a little about your dad, man. How was that growing up with your dad, man?
Oh yeah, my dad was a strong, strict guy. I guess I can say strict now, but he was just guiding me, in a way that a man should be walking today. Obviously, we all make mistakes and we all grow from them, and we have the power and ability to work on that change over time, and there's no one that can tell you, oh, well, you're this, so you can't do that, or you used to do this, so you can't do that. I want you to understand that when you make the decision to change your life from that day forward, whenever you make that switch, it's your it's you it goes by what you need to do and how you feel and what you need to do in order to work and walk into that manner in which that you feel that is righteous for you.
Yeah, I love it, man. Sounds like you guys grew up in a household where there was tons of accountability based off like some of the things that your parents instilled in you guys. If you would, man, tell me what was Atlanta like for you when you was growing up? I know it's changed now completely. So what is that? What
Yeah.
was that like for you back then?
I mean, Atlanta, what can you not say about Atlanta? We had the best food, Even though, I have grandmas and great grandmas and great great grandmas that cook and have the best meals, it ain't nothing like going to Atlanta and hitting American Deli, for some all flat lemon pepper wings, or, just walking down the street to hit the sock man for, 12 pairs for $1. So you just like, it's a lot of family oriented. Coca-Cola has a real strong, um, grounding down there. So we used to always go to the Coca-Cola festivals and parks and stuff like that. Centennial Park, me and my brothers, we used to play in the rings of water. If for everybody that has been to Atlanta before,
Right.
um, it's just a lot of it's Atlanta is like home. All my cousins still down there. Uh, all the best music came when I was growing up. I mean, I know everybody has their bias because everybody grew up in different times, but I'm currently 30, so Mr. Biggs did his resurgence. Cisco Maya, Ludacris, all of the Atlanta music was going down there. Soldier Boy created a whole new era and wave of music. So it was like a whole different like time when I was growing up and spending my summers in Atlanta.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Gotcha. You mentioned your brother, man. Tell me a little about your brother, bro.
Oh yeah, I have four brothers actually, but my older brother, he was primarily down there with me in Atlanta. So he's an artist as well. That's through different mediums of art, whether it's drawing, music, and himself as well. He's definitely a big inspiration for me as far as how to, one, just that extra couple years step ahead to see, how I should be moving, one as a man, but just as a person, too. So he made a couple of mistakes that, that helped me see that okay, I could do this, or he helped me avoid a lot of things. I could say it that way. He helped me avoid a lot of things that I could have possibly went through, or gave me a different aspect on things before something happened. So it was like pretty cool having big brothers and stuff like that, and a sense of accountability because you also have younger brothers. So you know, yeah.
I got you, man. I love Atlanta, man. I when I got out of the military, I lived in South Carolina for a little bit, and then
Hmm.
I became unemployed. But lo and behold, I got a job in Atlanta, Georgia, man, and
Hey,
like my career took off, bro. But it was a different vibe once I got to Atlanta, man. I grew up in Miami. I wouldn't say it's a similar thing, but during
yeah.
that time, a lot of people was migrating to Atlanta because of all of the things that was going on with business, with the music industry, and so on, man. I wanted to ask you, man. You're a musician, so I want to know what inspired you. How did you even get into the music space?
Well, my mom, I'm a preacher's kid, so that's number one. I grew up in a church, so music. My mom being a minister of music at church, we was always on the drums and pianos. Michael Jackson, Usher, seeing those guys. My cousin, he had dubbed the tape of the Michael Jackson concert. It was like, it was a Michael Jackson concert, but before the concert, it was like an hour or two of just music videos. So me and my brothers used to just watch that tape over and over again, all the Michael Jackson classic, all the videos, watching people pass out at the concert. So we just had a nice upbringing of music. My mom always had the newest CD that came out. Um, and then as we migrated towards like, being in church full time, my mom always made sure we had something for us to listen to. So we couldn't necessarily like listen to rap, but we could listen to the best R&B person, or the best gospel rap person like Papa San or something like that, or Fred Hammond, or just different entities like that. Um, and just music just flowed through me. All of my aunts and uncles played piano, sang. All of my cousins can sing way, 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 way better than me. So like just being around that whole family, being immersed in music, my mom singing background for the likes of Tony, uh
Wow.
so on and so forth. Like it goes deep. Being babysitted by, I want to think, once or twice Anita Baker. So it's like
Say what?
when I was a kid, yeah, that was left field, right? But it's these are real things that happen in Atlanta, uh, and it was pretty cool things that hear about as I got older. Because obviously I can't remember those moments myself,
Right.
but just being immersed in music, Also, my stepdad was a DJ, so we always had the new whatever we needed to do, or all of the old, just to understand the foundation. So it's like a lot of great things that brought me into music.
Wow, man, you guys had a musically talented family, and then you were surrounded by so many impactful people that I didn't even know that about you, bro. That is
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man. So I know that like life throws some challenges at us, and it could bring up some heartache, it could bring up some struggles and things like that. I wanted to ask you, while you was growing up, um, getting to where you're at now, did you ever experience some like personal or emotional challenges on your journey to where you're at today?
Yeah. I mean, I want people to understand that that journey is still going. You
Hmm.
know, as a kid, I always felt like the underdog, or I always felt like I had some sort of antagonist in my life, no matter what stage I was in, or what building I was in, or what school I was at, or what company I'm in. I always have like some sort of antagonist. But what I came to notice, especially post college, is that I always end up in a better solution. I didn't even see it then. I'd be like so mopey and so down when something goes absurdly the wrong way from my point of view, that I wouldn't understand that, okay, like the sun shines. I know that's like a cliche way, or way to end that sentence, but literally after every wild or adversity that I've experienced, I've made it through 100% of every bad day I've ever had.
Man, that's amazing, man. If you would tell me, what was it like for you growing up in Atlanta and Charlotte? Did you ever experience any challenges in those two cities, just going back and forth between those two cities?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, okay, for example, Charlotte, North Carolina. I want to say this is my junior year of high school,
Hmm.
and I was the drum major for the marching band. Really made it, did what I needed to do, tried out amongst high class individuals at that time, competing for a spot that was so sacred inside of my school, which is West Charlotte Senior High School, one of them, well, the best band in Charlotte High School, comparable to North Carolina A&T, if you follow the band world as well. And just being a drum major, my band director was from but don't I mean Florida A&M University,
Yeah,
so
I'm familiar.
they like, the Rattlers are just a whole different ball game. So my band director coming from there, coming to our school, we had to be the best drum. We had to have the best drum majors. We had to have the best, horn line. We had to have the best everything. So just to make it out and become a drum major for that school was a great accomplishment. However, my band director left the next year. We then got a band director from John C. Smith, which is a nice historically black college university, and I lost that drum major position, uh, basically because of that specific antagonist at the time. But you know, it turned out to be a great thing, having less responsibility and being able to enjoy my final high school years as just almost as a regular person, because being at that status, it's so much responsibility on your back. But just to being able to see that and being able to differentiate, or being able to relate to the people that was around me as in a leader position, and as a peer to peer position too,
Hmm.
created genuine and long lasting friendships in the long run, as I walk into year 31 of my life of friends that I still have today, based on the qualities that I showed 10, 12 years ago.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that, man. I wanted to ask you, as you transitioned into the music space, right? I
Mm-hmm.
know that industry is like a beast in its own self, right? So, what were some of the challenges that you faced getting into the music space? I know some people. I know back then I used to hear people like give out mixtapes or do auditions, and they sign bad deals and this and that. What are some of the things that you faced when getting into the to the music industry?
I think the most important thing about the music industry is that once you there's levels to each industry, or just if we just narrow it down in music industry, there's levels, right? So the number one thing that I've experienced is that you have to get over self, because when you walk into the music industry, or let's just say LA specifically, right? When you come into LA, you generally coming from a place where you were the best. So when you get to here, you have to recreate yourself. You have to rebrand yourself. You have to now prove yourself again to make sure that everybody understands that I'm coming. In the words of Deion Sanders, you know. So, just dealing with that aspect of the music industry, you have to be in your toes 100%. And that's one thing that I've learned. There's no handouts here. You have to earn every second. So if you slacking off a little bit, just remember there is someone just like you that's working 10 times harder where you just
Absolutely.
left to get to where you at today, just to have a glimpse of what you tasting right now. So never get complacent. That's what the music industry has taught me so far. Because I'm still going and I'm still chugging and I'm still getting accomplishing the goals that I set for. When I first wrote in my first journal when I was 7 years old.
Hey
Mhm.
man, so I know you do music, but I was also fascinated that you took some strategic route getting into business. So if you can, man, tell me and give me some insights on how did you get into like business funding, asset protection, and just getting into the complete entrepreneur space.
Yeah. So post college, when I moved to California, I really it was my first time having to actually, get a job and do work around it while still trying to make it in LA, to move my way up inside of the LA world. So I had to find a place where I still maintain my time, but could afford to one live here and to also fund what I needed to accomplish. Because let's be quite frank, music is the most expensive hobby known to outside of Elon Musk's rocket building. Music is super expensive. Like they say, they take 200,000 to get a song number one. Like I mean, if you want to compete in this space, you actually have to have the money. So, with that thought process, I needed a I don't want to say an income source to make sure that I could fund that and still live at the same time. So that battle came through having a multi-level marketing job that I was doing every single day, day in and day out, talking to every single person that literally walked the streets of Los Angeles. I was in the middle of Watts, California. Multi-level marketing, just to do that, which eventually led me to government contracting. With that government contracting, I was able to then hire, I want to say 24 people from back home, from college, from middle school, from high school, so on and so forth. In their adult world, we had offices in Colorado, Kentucky, uh, St. Louis, Atlanta, Los Angeles. Yeah. So that was a great experience, moving into that entrepreneurial space. That also helped those individuals see that, hey, if I can work for someone else doing hand to hand, face to face marketing, forcing myself to talk to anybody selling a product, then I can do that for myself. So, that just furthers, brings you out of whatever comfort zone you ever had, furthers your entrepreneurial drive, because you understand that you, for lack of better words, eat what you kill. So that entrepreneurial journey, or that drive to want to do music, and understanding that it's an expensive hobby, also having responsibilities as a man, you have to find a way to make that sure that you have a surplus of income coming in to take care of those things.
Man, I love the fact that you were strategic and you kind of use that as a vehicle for yourself. I also think it's impressive that you kind of go against the grain in regards to like some of the things that we hear when it comes to like business and entrepreneurship. Like you said, you went back and you got some of your friends to like work in the business with you and for you and stuff like that, where that's totally like taboo in certain industry and certain parts of life. But you chose to take that challenge and step into that. I applaud for you for that, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
I,
Appreciate
I
it.
wanted to ask you as a follow up. Did you ever worry about like approaching people when it comes to sales? I know some people are afraid of like dealing with sales. Like some people get into entrepreneurship and forgot that they got to talk to people, communicate with people, and all that. Did you ever deal with anything like that, or any of your employees struggle with that?
Oh yeah, every single one did. But you have to keep a poker face, when you're dealing with the employees. But me myself, I know when I first walked out there, I was like, uh, you know. But the competition in me, seeing other people be successful at it, seeing other people hit numbers, when I know in my well mentally I feel like I'm the one. So you know mentally I'm like, man, I'm the one. I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this, and I'm gonna go crazy. So I went crazy, and I essentially earned the top spot, which was able to earn me my own individual contract, was able to, for me to be able to provide jobs and opportunities for people pre-COVID, and that from a peer-to-peer standpoint, that was paying more than what they were getting paid, ever in their whole life, as well as paying for flights, hotels, rental cars, giving them per diems every day for food. It was just an insurmountable experience. But yeah, being having to go talk to people face to face, yeah, I did have those jitters. But at the end of the day, a person can either say yes or no, and I had to eat. So if either I remember I had plenty of days where I would, because this is the time where I still worked. So I would act like, I would say to myself, man, I'm not gonna talk to nobody today. I'm not gonna make any money, and I'm gonna show my boss that this can't be done. And the more and more I sat there, I'm like, I'm out there, I'm sat there, I'm like, if I go home today making $0, it is my fault. he
Absolutely.
go he gonna look at me and laugh. And there's gonna be other people that come back to the office and say, hey, I made money today. And I made the most money today. And I'm not about to sit there and let somebody else do that to me. Or I'm sorry, let me say this. I'm not gonna sit there and do that to myself. Because
Right.
all of that, everything, when you're placed in a position where you have to, like I said, lack of a better words, eat what you kill, it's all on you. Literally, it's all on you. If you don't make money, then you don't make money. But if you did make money, it's such a greater feeling, because it's something that you accomplished, and it's face to face, hand to hand combat. You can't fake that. You can't fake that.
No, I agree with you. You can't fake that, man. But I think one of the biggest things I notice in sales, man, is it's not as hard as some people make it. As long as you are delivering value, you're being authentic, you're being relatable. You already made up in your mind that more is better for yourself and for your client. I don't think it's like a hard sell. And obviously, if there's alignment, there's going to be some synergy that is going to take place there. But if it's not, there could be potential clients. There could be referral partners. So it doesn't. The relationship or the conversation does not end there all the time. If it does, it does. But for the most part, it does not end there.
Exactly.
So getting into business, you acquired a government contract, right? So I think that's extremely fascinating for you to do that. That comes with a lot of skills and some tenaciousness in regards to understanding the government contracting space. Can you tell me a little bit about that government contract?
Yeah. So it was a direct marketing government contract. It was basically marketing for health. So basically, what it was called, it was pharmacogenomics, basically testing the gene for how their body reacts to certain medications, as
Hmm.
well as a cancer gene,
Hmm.
determining if they have a specific cancer gene, where the client talks to a doctor right in front of with the client, with the as well as the worker,
Hmm.
and the client gets to then get further treatment if needed as well. So that was a definitely a great opportunity for the client because it was also free for that person. So the person didn't have to pay anything to get that specific service as well. One thing that I wanted to my partners, because I don't want to call them employees, my partners. I want
Mhm.
one thing that I wanted them to understand is because I already went through it. By the time they're there, I've already went through everything that they could think of, every mindset, every thought process, any hardships, so on and so forth. So I wanted an opportunity for them to one make the most money they can ever make without having to compromise themselves, if that makes sense. So with that with that understanding in the government contracting space, because the money the government is gonna pay, they're gonna make sure that you get your check on time every day. So as long
Right.
as I could, you know, do something like that, I understood that okay, helpful for the client, helpful for the worker. Okay, bet let's this is something that I can stand behind. So government contracting, if anybody has the wherewithal or the patience to get through the initial process of, just setting up your business on sam.gov, making sure you have everything that you need, make sure you know your next code, make sure you can thoroughly read RFPs. Like that's literally it. The government tells you exactly what it is. If you have a question before the deadline, you can literally ask your question. They have to answer it before the deadline, literally. Like so, government contracting is, I wouldn't say it's an easy, but it's simple enough for you to get it done.
It's truly simple, man. When I worked for the government in DC, government contracting from the side that I sat on, you could see that everything was laid out in a blueprint for you of how to reply back to any proposals. So I like the fact that you was adamant about like learning about it, going about it, and executing that. I wanted to know how long did that contract last, and did you face any challenges with this particular government contract?
Yeah, so I want to say I started working on that contract because I started working on that contract, I want to say in June of 2019. And oh, no, let's back it up. I started working on it initially in March of 2019. I finally landed through so much trial and error to in October of 2019. That contract lasted till March 2020.
Wow.
Hey, I was so hurt that I was on pace to make $3.1 million by my first year. And I
Right.
could had the option to pick up the second year. I had a second year and a third year option on that as well. So, hey, I thought I was on my way, man. Everybody around me was happy, and the biggest thing that happened was, you know, it's a government contract. So when the government shut down, it shut down. So it was
Mhm.
nothing I could do, and also it was a swab situation as well. So no one wanted to swab anyone, and no one wanted to get swabbed as well. So that was also another stipulation where that had that specific contract shut down as well. So, but I'm thankful for that too. Maybe I wasn't ready, you know, to be a millionaire just yet. You know, maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe there were some things to correct in my specific spirit, that I needed to experience that boom, and then brought back to be back humble again to one day just build it from the ground up again, and then appreciate it because a little bit more. I was about to say divvy it out, but I basically gave it all away during COVID anyway because when you're in that position where you're a lot of people's lifelines. I fed families, I paid rents. I did a lot for people, and to be someone's lifeline for it to be taken away so abruptly, and we're all just trying to figure it out, you know, uh, just weighing on you every day. I really, just gave a lot of it away, majority of it, so to build it again is going to be, quite a journey, but I'm thankful for every single day, you know. That's why when anything fails or anything falls by the wayside for me right now, you know, I'm not crying about it, especially if it's not as big as that.
That's a fact, man. I noticed that you're one of the most positive, resilient mindset type of person that I've ever came across, man. Ever since I met you.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
So you lost this government contract due to the pandemic, and you had to pivot and you had to make a transition. And you're into the business funding space and asset protection. I want to transition a little bit here. So, what are some of the strategic planning and like risk management techniques that you would
Mhm.
recommend for anyone that's navigating into the financial industry, or just to be successful in that particular space?
I want people to understand that it's you have to establish foundation, so before you get into the different levels of finance for anything, you got to make sure self is correct. So make sure you have more than one bank account. That's number one. Anything can happen. Anything can
As we've
happen.
seen,
So like have more than one bank account. That's number one. Then make sure there's some type of auto payment on all of your cards. That's another thing. Then also number three, make sure your expenses are this. These are uh, it's wild to have to. I don't want to say that I'm saying cliche things, but keep your expenses low. Like I live in California. Like my rent currently is 1450.
wow,
I'm not trying to outdo anything.
right,
We're all living in boxes. There's no reason why you should have to be overspending here, overspending there when you only have this amount coming in.
right.
There's no reason for you to get more coming in and then you just go get some more. Literally, go get more debt or go get more expenses. So understand that one, have some specific cash flow, have multiple places for that cash flow to go, and then keep your expenses low because you're gonna go. Money comes in waves. It's up and it's down. 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 But if you spending every time it's up, when do you ever rise?
Absolutely. What are some of the reasons why people find themselves in bad hardships or like bad situations when it comes to finances?
I think the one of the things that people don't talk about when people find themselves in bad situations with finances because when things are going good, we think it's always going to be good. So we spend like it's good. We hit that dopamine release of like, man, I got this much right now. Let's go to the Maldives. Let's go. Oh, I'm going to get the porterhouse this time instead of the Salisbury. Hey, hey, I ain't knocking you now. But listen, tomorrow coming. You're going to wish you had that 72. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, so like don't spend it when you get it. Keep some of it. Put it somewhere that's gonna make you some money. And if you are putting it somewhere that you think is gonna make you some money, because everything is nothing is guaranteed, make sure you have at least a plan. 9 times out of 10, the plan doesn't fail. The man fails the plan. So you have to get out of the mindset of just winging it. Put something together to make it make sense and you can figure it out along the way at that, but at least have some guide points. Okay, if I get here, I got this. If I don't have this, and I got this, because that's what's gonna put you into a better position as you move forward.
So, where are some places that people should put their money? And I'm asking that because obviously, a couple years ago, Obama talked about like banking collapse and all these other things and stuff like that. And then as of late, we've just seen that recently where there's a couple banks are collapsing and some banks are buying other banks and things like that. So, What are your thoughts on like where are some places people could actually put their money?
It's a couple. So there's levels. There's levels to where you can put your money. If hedge funds, Roth IRAs for a younger person, with taking a less aggressive approach. Um, life insurance. There's, silver, gold. Buying those assets as we speak, as you can see, bricks doing what they need to do. I can tell you now, you're going to get a lot more silver than you do gold.
Hmm.
Silver is going to not catch up as close as gold, but it's gonna do what it need to do in order for you to make sure that you could spend the way you do as long as inflation keeps doing what it's doing. Um, you can put your money it you can put your money inside of trust, but that's also for. I mean, you can put your money inside of real estate inside of a trust and keep the taxes at the minimum. There's
Hmm.
different wealth strategies that you could do as well. So it's gonna the where to put your money is gonna be relative to that person. You know,
Okay.
maybe their money, maybe at that point in time they can't afford to put their money in a Roth IRA, but it needs a little bit more aggressive approach. As long as your bottom line living expenses, food expenses, health expenses are taken care of, okay, then take a look at different ventures that could potentially make you money. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I wanted to follow up with that. So we know that money flows many different ways in all of these different levels that you just mentioned. I wanted to ask how important is it for your personal credit and your business credit when they align with like protecting your assets and getting funding as an entrepreneur or just a regular person that's working a 9 to 5 job?
Yeah. So it depends on your goals, right? So as a lot of people don't run a business, you know, they live their life and they want to make sure that they can just sustain for their family and make sure that they can eat and make sure that they can do fun things whenever they can. And that's an amazing life. Those simple things like that are way more important than they are simple when we really take it from a scope of things. And as far as people with the business credit, it's important to not be leveraging too much of your personal credit in order to run your business. Banks love when the personal utilization is low and the business side of things is a little bit more pushed and leveraged. Okay, this person can handle and is equally paying and doing what they need to do on the business side, but their personal is slow and steady. Okay, perfect. Let's give this person some more money on the business side. It also opens you up on the personal side to be able to do and take care of and experiences and have those experiences that people with different types of platinum and gold and silver credit cards get to take advantage of if you do it the right way on that side. So personal and business credit is important. You can't even get the right house that you want to live in if you don't have the personal credit. And I'm not even talking about buying. I'm talking about renting.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, and that's those are just different things. That make sense to me as far as personal and business credit.
Talk to me a little bit about business credit. I guess kind of like what is business credit for our listeners, and what is like some of the important things around business credit if someone was trying to like start a business, or probably already been in business but never heard of business credit. They've been using cash out of their pocket, their own cash flow, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So the meat of that question will be, how do people get funded? You have to look as serious as you need to be. Can look in front of the bank so that make sure you have the business address, business phone number, business name that's compatible with the lending terms that they're trying to lend, as well as be practical in what you're asking for. A lot of people get discouraged and say, "Oh, this company that services business credit doesn't work, and this one is not as great." No, you have to be practical with the client of what they're asking for in order to gain what you're accomplish what you're trying to gain,
Hmm.
which is essentially some type of funding. So if it's a new business, you can't go out and ask for 100K, 200K, so on and so forth. You have to have some type of accolades. Get a business primary. I'm not talking a business trade line. Get a business primary that's reporting directly to your business. Also, make sure that your business is at least 6 months old. 3 to 6 months. 6 months old is basically the sweet spot of where you need to get. Unless a client has excellent credit, it's seldom that I see someone just start a business and get immediate funding with the no doc loans and so on and so forth. That's, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's not a high average of people that actually get that. So make sure that you put your business in the best light so the bank can take it serious. Also, explore with different have more than one bank account. Different banks give money. It's just on the business credit side, most of the business data furnishers don't even report which bank is from or what company is from. So you have autonomy of where you could will go. There is no other, as far as saying competition. Understand also your IntelliScore. You have a difference between your IntelliScore and your Paydex score. Paydex is Duns and Bradstreet. IntelliScore is business experience. So there's different types of funding that come in both of those different avenues. Like, you're running with your net 30, so on and so forth, building your paydeck score on the different tiers of business credit. Whereas as far as on the IntelliScore side, these are installment, equipment, different accounts like that, credit cards, fleet credit, so on and so forth on that side of the business when you're talking about your IntelliScore. So we have to be specific and be aware of what we're asking for and then be pragmatic in thought when we're trying to put forth a plan that's going to make sense for you and that's going to make sense for the bank. Because at the end of the day, you're going asking them for something. Nothing is proven until it's proven. So they're assuming that you might have the funds to pay us back, but you at
Mhm.
least got to look good enough for us to give you the time of day. That's just like real life. If you
Right.
come to me looking bummy, I'm I'm gonna have some type of compassion and show some type of gratitude towards you and yours and your life. But am I gonna give you $100,000? I don't think so. If you came to me looking to up to par, like you came to me presenting me with a plan or something like that, and you're like, "Hey, bro, I have this right here, and I need to do this, and these are the projections, and this is what I have in place to make sure it makes sense. We may lose here, here, and here, but we could win here, here, and here." Okay, I might give that more of a thought, or offer a little bit less than what they're asking for, and we discuss the terms later on down the line. So
Right.
those are just two thought processes. Make sure you look good in front of the bank. Look good enough for them to be like, okay, perfect. I will fund this person.
So a lot of people think about getting entrepreneurship and they might build out a business plan and get to the banking phase and realize that oh snap, my personal credit is bad and I'm trying to get some business funding and I need to be a PG. So if you can tell me a little bit about like the personal credit side of thing and how that should be structured or how that should be looking for someone that's trying to get into business.
Yeah. So a fully maximized personal credit report should have at least 6 to 12 primary accounts reporting to their report so they can maximize funding on the business side. They're going to multiply they're going to multiply at least by 2 of what you have on the personal side to give to you on the business side. If that's your thought process, then you can't go asking for $200,000 if you only have a couple $500 credit cards on that side. That's max to the maxi. So make sure you have that structure. Make sure you are not over leveraged. Make sure the utilization is, I like to say, 10% or lower. Uh, as far as diversifying, make sure once you graduate from yourselves, your credit strongs, so on and so forth, make sure that you have other ones that have more value than that, so you can then go and ask for more. For example, I have a connection with different underwriters, and once they look at your credit profile, they can assess you and be like, okay, we can give this person a little bit more. So make sure you have 6 to 12 accounts on the personal side with low utilization, and even at the bare minimum, make sure you have at least 3 personal primary accounts when you're going to look for business funding at the bare minimum. I told you the max, which is 6 to 12. The bare minimum, make sure you have at least a 660 credit score, or at the bare minimum 640, to actually participate inside of the funding that we need in order to move forward.
Okay, so now we have someone that's looking to get into business, and they have an idea. They understand the funding pieces of thing now, and then they're scared and they're nervous about, oh snap, somebody does what I do. Can you talk about like some of the challenges that business owners may face, and how do they overcome the thought of competition in the entrepreneur space?
I will start this answer of this question off with an observation. So in California here, there's a donut shop on every single corner, literally. So that just shows to me that if you're in a place where there's high demand, then it's okay for you to step in there. That means that the market is tested enough for you to come in and catch a couple strays to help you improve your business. Just make sure that when the people that step into your world step in, make sure they are provided with an experience, a good enough experience enough for them to come back. So don't be afraid to start something just because somebody else has it. Start it and do it the way you see fit, and they'll make room for you. Trust me.
All right, so I want to bring it a little bit back to you now. So, like, you're in the business space as an entrepreneur and you're doing your thing. How is it that you are balancing that your business side of things, your musician side of thing, and your personal life? How are you balancing all three of these things?
I I would like to say that the balance comes from being you, being yourself. Who's to say that I can't be all of those things encompassing in one? And with as far as balance, I don't get too stressed about anything. You know, I don't let something affect me from here that's going on over there. If I'm doing this over here, then that's what I'm doing right now. I have a pragmatic thought process when it comes to whatever I'm going through, and I can also compartmentalize. As a man in the world, we've had to learn to compartmentalize when it comes to different situations. So that balance, especially as of today, and I'm still learning. I would like to say to the people that's watching, look, I'm 30, and I know people that's younger than me that's having problems, and I know people that's well older than me having problems. What makes you feel like you shouldn't have no problems? That's impossible. So if I know that, okay, I'm gonna have problems or I'm gonna have this, there's no reason for me to fret too much. I just need to take it one step at a time and remember that balance comes from me taking care of myself.
So, what are some challenges that you faced as a business owner that you had to overcome?
It depends on your business model, right? So if you have a service business, the biggest challenge is going to be dealing with other people. And if you also want to have a company that works with others as far as a partner inside of the organization, you have to understand to meet people where they are. Don't expect them to have the same thought process as you. Create a guideline for wherever you guys need to do, and accept their strengths and weaknesses for what they are. If a person tells you they can't do this or they don't want to do that, don't be mad at them because they don't want to do this and they can't do that.
Hmm.
Look at what they are great at, pour into that, and then do what you did to get you there. And I promise you, a lot things to be a lot better. And I think another aspect of what I may be going to is, just having clear communication. I believe that if you have clear communication with people, even if it's an ulterior motive, say these things so that the next person can give you a full scope or deal with you how you are. If that's continuing with you, then that's continuing with you. If it's not, then it's not. But
Right.
at least you were upfront with the person, or at least you're 100% you at every step of the way, no matter how it is, and that's you can win. That's it's a win. A win is a win at the end of the
If you
day.
can, if you can keep in confidentiality of your clients, if you could share maybe some success stories of some of your clients that you've been able to help that may have came to you with some challenges and how you help them to get their business up and running, get it funding, and to what degree of success has that business been at now?
Yeah. So let's pinpoint it right. The best part of having success stories is being able to bridge them with like-minded people that
Hmm.
even if you don't have the solution for them, you can put them in the direction of that solution, and the end being a win for them. Period. But that's
Hmm.
also you providing them with a solution. So people with cleaning businesses, I've helped people stage different offices when they were first starting off their businesses, so they wanted to do commercial cleaning. I've helped them have with relationships that I have stage the office, make sure that they have the best pictures or best video, best marketing materials that they could have, you know,
Hmm.
as far as making sure that they put their best foot forward for the client, for their future clients. Funding, making sure people get the right amount of money that they need or close to it or in different amounts that equal up to it to start them off, or putting them in the position or helping them get in the position to where they can then qualify for that as well. Or as in a different aspect, as far as giving people, the funds to make sure that they get to where they need to go with a little kickback at the end of the day. So, you know, I've helped people in a plethora of ways just to make sure that they can put their best foot forward. And, sometimes it's at as good as my own heart. So that's where I am today.
What are some mistakes that you've seen some people make getting into the entrepreneur space?
The biggest mistake that I see people get or come across in the entrepreneurial space is they quit too fast. You can't quit when something don't go right. You can't quit when the customer do a chargeback. You can't quit when you don't have all the materials that you need to have. You got to do what you need to do in order to push forward. So don't quit too fast. They say most businesses aren't profitable for the first 5 years. What are you doing to change that? That's that, and if you can, and if even with social media, because that's a lot of people's thing right now. Post 100 videos. After you post your whole first 100 videos, then you can start thinking about, okay, where is this getting monetized at? Where is this not working? What's working? So on and so forth. You'll have enough of a sample size to see what you need to do.
Right.
You know, that's where I'm at with that.
What role does mindset have in like becoming an entrepreneur? Because like you mentioned, some of them quit. So what role does having a mindset, being resilient in entrepreneurship, what role does that play?
Mindset is super important. I speak all the time to my peers about having emotional intelligence. So things aren't going to always go your way, but someone might appreciate how you handled it going your way or not going your way, and then recommend you to someone else. And that might be your bigger blessing. So having emotional intelligence, having that mindset that there is a better day, like I said earlier in the show, I've personally made it through 100% of every single bad day that I've had. And if you here today and you're having a bad day, tomorrow might be better, or you might have had a bad day yesterday and you're here today. So today is better. I've made it through 100% of every bad day that I've always had. So that's where I'm at.
All right. So We talked a good bit about the entrepreneur space. We talked a good bit about your music career, and we learned a little bit about like your childhood and some of the things you experienced while you was in college. If you can, man, what are some practical tips that you could give some entrepreneurs when it comes to finances, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to business assets and business funding? What are some tips that you would like to share?
The number one tip that I would like to share for anyone who's stepping forward in any medium of art, education, finance is to study the competition. Right? Where are you inside of the competition? That is healthy. It's super healthy. It one keeps you on your toes. Make sure that you have industry standard. Make sure that all of your technology, equipment, so on and so forth is up to date. Make sure you're speaking the right terms and that you're knowledgeable of what's going on inside of the world today. And most importantly is you want to be the best you when you step in front of people. And that's important to me. So make sure you assess the competition and do your due diligence within yourself. And I promise you, you're going to be 10 steps farther than a lot of people around you.
Thank you. So at this moment in the show, I wanted to talk about some of the things that I know I personally dealt with. So throughout my life, I came from Jamaica, joined the Marine Corps, and worked a 9 to 5 job, then got into the entrepreneurship space. And throughout those experiences, I've had obviously some tons of ups and downs, but like you said, just keep on going, keep on pushing, and you'll make it through. You know what I'm saying? Don't stress over some of these things that you faced. I know that like your experience has not been all peaches and cream. You know what I mean? Shout out to Atlanta. So all in peaches and cream, bro. So so I wanted to ask you specifically, man, at what point in your life did you say like, all right, this is where I want my life to go. This is what I want to do with my life. This is the journey that I'm going to take myself on. At what point in your life did you decide to do that? And if you can, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I would I would say my senior year of college. I sat in the office of my dean and I said, what? Because I didn't want to go to medical school anymore. I said, hey, Miss So and so, what is the maximum amount that you think that I could make, with if I just got this degree of this biology and chemistry degree? And she was like, you're looking at the range of 35,000. I'm like, and that was my last day. And I'm like, I need to step out and figure it out. Like, what is it that I actually need to do in order to do what's right for me? Because I did a host of things that I felt were getting me through the times. But when you actually sit down and figure out what you want to do, and what there is many instances in my life where I have turning points. But when you sit down and literally write your pros and cons. I've seen it on a movie. I don't quote me on what movie it was, but they said to sit down on a piece of paper and write down what it is you like, whether it's a person or a thing or an activity, and write down the pros and the cons. And when them cons outweigh my pros, I let that go. When the pros outweigh the cons, that's what I started gravitating to. And then that's when I started dealing with all of the start eliminating one by one each con, or working on improving each con for what I actually wanted to do, because nothing that you want to do comes perfect with a lot of peaches and the cream. Shout out to SL to I to M.
Hey man, at this stage in your life, bro, who are some mentors or coaches or people in your life that has inspired you?
Yeah, so I look at a lot of people where I am in comparison to where I am, but actually also within age of where I am as well. So there's this finance guy, Mark Miller. We have Chris Wealth. We have him 500. We have Alex, that does the trucking. We have, Fox Wade that does government contracting. We have so many different, black men that I see that do well. I have also personally, I have Points. He goes by Points on the board in the music industry. Did a lot of things as far as writing for people, so on and so forth, and as well as being an artist himself. So as well as having artists as well. So seeing that, being able to sustain, have a family, wife, kids, so on and so forth, and then still be you at the same time. Those are different models that I look at and be like, if I wanted to, pivot or take little things from here, here, and here, and here, I can at least add them to my life and see where it positively projects me and understand that I could do it just as well as them.
Nice. So, being in the business space that you're in, how is it that you stay up to date with current events that's going on in the world when it comes to you dealing with your clients in regards to how you could help them with that impact?
Yeah, so I think it's important to, you know, understand, follow the news of what's of that specific industry. So if it's finance, make sure you're looking at all of the finance tech silicons, different things like that, as well as in the GovCon industry. If you're looking and make understand that where's the money flowing? Okay, where do you fit inside of that as a small business? Can you partner with someone who has something that can take care of what the government needs currently in a way, or can you guide someone that has that specific business and help them get into that space specifically? Also, on in the music side, do you have the connection to guide someone over here that you can also help, yourself at with as well? So staying up to date means that you have to be a little mixy, and in order to understand, you have to be mixy inside of the whatever organization that you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you for that, bro. So, as we get ready to wrap up the show, man, I know a lot of our listeners, some of them have been facing some adversity, some of them have been through a lot of things in their lives, and you've definitely shown your resilience. You've shown that you're committed to yourself. You're committed to empowering other people and making an impact in their life through your business and just your personal growth and transformational growth that you've made in your life. What are some key life lessons that you could share and impart on our listeners as we get ready to get out of here?
Listen, just calm down, remain calm. Like I promise you, just relax. Think about it. Literally, just sit back and think about it. It's if it's not gonna matter in 100 years, relax. I promise. Just relax. If no one else told you, haven't told you, I'm proud of you. So just keep pushing. It's literally the ball is in your court. You can literally change it. I know it feels impossible right now, but relax.
All right, bro. So you are the one that did the song on the outro for this podcast, and I already knew you had this musical gift, musical talent after we spoke, and you shared some videos with me. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. And until next time, everybody, we release podcast episodes weekly. So tune in next time. I'm your host, Michael Allison. I got my guy here, Sire Montgomery. Sire, bro, if you can, man, tell people how they could get in contact with you, how they could work with you, and if you can, man, introduce your video for me.
Hey, listen, man. I go by the name of Sire, and you are now tuned into the experience. I want to thank you guys. You can go to Sire, SireMontgomery, on Instagram and literally type it in, DM me, shoot me a text, and we can go from there. And I can just figure out and assess everything we need to do. So, just like I said earlier, just sit back and relax, have a little bit of patience. That's what this song is all about. So, without further ado, my song Patience. That's the outro to Adversity Academy. Impact, inspire, and empower. Let's go.
Peace. We love you.
Can't complain at all. Couple dollars in my pocket, know it come and go. Been working on my body, getting healthier. Thank God for clarity.